Hey, it's Jeff with DaringDino.com. In this video, you will learn how to work with text in Blender. I'll cover how to add text, use different fonts, make text into an easy to modify mesh, and add bevels to text. So let's get into it right now. This will be the scene that we're kind of creating here. It's what you saw in the thumbnail for this video. So I'm going to go File, New, and get right into it. So the first thing you'll probably want to do is switch into top view mode. And that's because when you hit Shift A to add text, it will add it in this top view mode. I can't tell you how many times I've been in front view and I'm like, where did that text go? And it's just right there. So switch into top view mode with 7 on your number pad key. I usually rotate it on the X axis by hitting RX and then 90, just so that it's facing the front. And then to edit the text, all you got to do is go to edit mode with tab, and then you can hit backspace and start typing in what you want. But for this, we're just going to leave it with text. Now all the properties are over here in the properties panel underneath this little F icon, and you have to be selected on the text in order to see all this stuff. The resolution is really important for any font that has curves to it. So this X is going to be perfectly straight no matter what the resolution is. If I turn this resolution all the way down, it stays pretty much the same, but you'll see this E where it's got curves, I can make it higher or lower resolution. So if you're doing something with big curvy text, turn this up to about 30 or 40, and then when you're working on stuff, it will be a lot better looking in the end. We can skip the texture space section, but the geometry section is how we can do extrude effects, which is how we make it have some depth, and bevel, which is how you can make the edges not perfectly straight, not a perfect 90-degree angle. So if I just turn this up a little bit, you can start to see the bevel coming into play. And the bevel depth is how big the bevel is, and the resolution is how many iterations how many steps there are in between. So 0, it just is a 45-degree angle. If I hit 1, there is one line in between here. Most of the time you'll want to use an edge split modifier with text, just so that your edges are breaking up nicely. Let's jump back to the font properties here. You can also change what font face we're using, and I'll go into that a little bit more in a second. You can change the overall size, which is basically just scaling the font up and down, and then a shear, which is making it lean to the right or left, as well as how to center the text or have it left aligned, how it's vertically aligned, and the spacing and the offset. You can also do text boxes, but I haven't found these to be very useful for most of what I do. But the first thing I want to show you is how to use different fonts. So what you should probably do is go to File and go to your user preferences, and then under the File section is your fonts path. And I have set this to be a Dropbox folder, but on Windows, the folder should be under your Windows folder and then the fonts folder. And on Mac, it should be under library/fonts. And those are both right here on the screen so that you can see where those paths should be. But once you have this set up, if you click on Open File here, it'll jump straight into your font folder, which is really handy. And the other thing I want to point out is if you click on this thumbnail preview over here, it will show you what the font actually looks like, which is very, very helpful. And then you can combine that with your search. So I am going to use DIN condensed and bold, which is this font right here, and then open font. And now I've got my text looking really nice. It's got a different font. And if you're doing anything with Blender, use a different font, because a lot of people just stick with the default. If you pick anything different, it will look so unique, just like this piece of text right here. So I'm just going to very quickly throw a material on here and change the color to be a little bit of a tealish color. Hover over this and hit Command C and Command V to kind of make this preview nicely, and we're getting somewhere. We're getting really good here. Once your font has been created, I recommend making a copy of it and converting it into a mesh. So we'll do that with Shift D, and don't move your mouse or anything, just hit Enter on your keyboard, and that will make it exactly in the same spot. And then we'll do Alt C and convert it to a mesh. And you can see how I have text with the mesh icon and text with the text icon. So I'm just going to hide this one for now. And if you're ever working with really high resolution text like this, you can see it starts to get way too high poly for what you need. And it's not that it's necessarily too high poly, it's that it triangulates all the faces, and it's pretty crazy. So there's a very quick way to fix this, and that is by using a mesh cleanup tool. So if I select all my vertices here, and then I go to mesh, cleanup, and then limited dissolve, what this tool will do is turn faces that are planar into an n-gon, which is amazing. This is so helpful. And just to give you a very quick visual of kind of what this does, I'll add a cube and I'll subdivide it a couple times. And then I'm just gonna extrude a face. Let's extrude it again. And then let's extrude this like that. So I don't need all of this geometry. So let's do the same thing. And you can hit spacebar and type in limited dissolve, and it'll make it into a much simpler mesh. So I hope that kind of explains kind of what's going on here. I'm actually going to hide this for now and bring back our normal text. And I will use the excellent Pro Lighting Studio add-on here to get a good lighting setup very quickly. I'll just turn on the backdrop, and I don't have a camera anymore, so let's add a camera. And let's move it back a little bit and move it up. I'm just moving it into place with my G key to move it around and Shift F to go into fly mode to fly around. And that's pretty much exactly what you see in the render at the very end. This is super easy. I hope you learned a lot about working with text in Blender. When you create a render with this method, feel free to let me know on Twitter at daring_dino or in the comments below. And don't forget, if you want to get free resources and great tutorials like this straight in your inbox, sign up for the Daring Dino newsletter at daringdino.com/newsletter and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.